Brawl Stars has and had plenty of features that just didn't work. They failed. And today we're gonna go through 10 more of those features. And if you end up enjoying this video, then make sure that you subscribe because I'm gonna do more of these in the near future and you don't wanna miss them. But all right, let's get into feature number 1. Feature number 1, you know him, you hate him, Buzz Lightyear. There might be like the 2 people in the world who actually liked Buzz Lightyear, but everybody else did not like him at all. This was Supercell's first attempt of adding a temporary brawler based on a collab, and they gave Buzz Lightyear 3 different modes. He had Saber mode, Wing mode, and Laser mode, all of which were broken for their own reasons. They all covered a different portion of the game, meaning like different maps, different modes, different situations. So no matter what you were doing on ladder, you could have picked Buzz Lightyear and he would have been the best option for whatever you're picking. And I think that alone is one of the biggest problems about the collab. Maybe he shouldn't have worked absolutely everywhere, because on ladder, he's basically all you would see, and you would see multiple of him on one team all of the time. It's made worse by the fact that each of the modes were just overpowered. Even after getting nerfed, they were better than most brawlers in the entire game, so there was really no reason to not play him while he was in the game, but it also made playing against him horrible if you didn't want to play him. It was bad enough as a max out player, like I didn't feel like playing Buzz Lightyear, so I didn't, and as a max out player, he still felt oppressive, but I could not imagine how it felt for players who were under leveled, because Buzz Lightyear is automatically maxed out, and he would basically like one-shot lower level brawlers, and that does not seem very fun. This was a terrible feature. I hope that if they do this again, they try their very best to make the brawler kind of balanced, or maybe even make a temporary mode that you can only play the brawler in. Failed feature number 2 is the first edition of Ranked. So right off the bat, we can talk about the main incentive of playing the original Ranked, which was literally just to get the Ranked skin. But the problem with that is, at first, the only way you could get the Ranked skin was from the Ranked drops. Some players would get the skin at like Bronze, and other players wouldn't even get the skin if they reached Masters. It was really unfair. Eventually though, they did add the ability to get the skin with Bling if you weren't able to get it from the drops. But at least now you're guaranteed to get the skin at a certain point, which is really good in Ranked 2.0. And the biggest problem with Ranked for pretty much everybody besides casuals is the fact that it was way too casual. Power League, the mode before Ranked, was super competitive. It was very hard to reach the top rank. Pros absolutely loved it, and yes, it probably had some problems, but I think Ranked 1.0 had more problems than Power League ever did. Pretty much everybody and their mother could reach Masters blindfolded in Ranked 1.0. From Bronze all the way to Masters, it was way too easy. The matchmaking was really, really bad, and that's not even talking about modifiers. Every match would have a different modifier that would completely change the game and make it skillless in a unique way. Quickfire would essentially give certain brawlers infinite ammo so you can mash auto aim for the entire match. That was broken. There was Big Friend, where you would want to pick a Frank and then literally any squishy brawler, and then everybody would have the health of a Frank. There were so many modifiers that made it less competitive than ladder, which makes absolutely no sense because Ranked was supposed to be the competitive mode. Thankfully, a lot of these features were fixed in Ranked 2.0, but this is why Ranked 1 failed. Failed feature number 3 is Showdown modifiers. This was Supercell's attempt to get rid of teaming a very, very long time ago for solo showdown. The only problem is it didn't really change anything, and they got rid of them. Sometimes they bring them back randomly, but it's usually only for like a couple weeks and then they're gone again. I don't really know why, but they used to be in the game constantly, and they made it more chaotic than it should have been, especially considering it didn't even fix the problem. There was the robot modifier, which would spawn a giant robot in the map and it would chase the nearest player down. It had a ton of health, it dropped a ton of cubes, but the thing is, it put the one player it chased into a terrible position, and it's basically a guaranteed death for that player unless they have a way to escape it, or unless they're completely alone and they have enough time to kill it. Then there was Meteors, which was supposed to target teamers. When people are standing near each other and not shooting each other, it would throw a meteor on them, kind of like El Primo's gadget. But the thing is, half the time, it would just pick a random player on the map and target them with meteors constantly. As soon as one lands, it would shoot another one at them, even if the person is completely alone. So it really just picked people to kill, and it made the game so much worse. Sometimes they would try to split up teamers, but more often than not, no, it would just choose one single solo player and kill them. And next up we have Healing Mushrooms. This one was my favorite because it just helps keep you alive, but just like the meteors, sometimes it would choose a single player and heal them forever. I think the idea here is that it would target solo players instead of people near each other who are teaming, but still, sometimes it would leave everybody else in the map for one person to get all of the heals, and this person could sit in the smoke for the entire game and never die, because I'm pretty sure there's only one healing mushroom on the map at a time, and if he keeps putting it on the same person, that is the only player getting the healing mushrooms. Yeah, these were since removed, but I do hope that they try something else like this in the future to get rid of teaming. I don't really know what they could do though. Failed feature number 4 was Trophy Escape, and this one makes me sad. Trophy Escape was a game mode kind of like an extension of Showdown, but instead of trying to survive and be the last one alive, you're trying to kill other players, kill robots on the map, and get their trophies, and then you can go to one of the points on the map once a certain amount of people are dead, and you can escape the match with those trophies. This mode had a few problems because of the way it was. The meta just wasn't that fun. Not only was there Charlie, who with her super, she could hit you with it and then take all of your trophies, because much like Gem Grab, it makes you drop them even though you're still alive. Such a terrible feature. I don't know why that's still a thing. But the rest of the match was normally just assassins sitting in bushes waiting for somebody to come up to them so then they could jump them, get their trophies, and repeat. If not that, then they would sit in a bush and wait for 2 people to fight and then clean up the fight and get all of the trophies and then leave. It incentivizes you playing super passively and basically never going aggressive ever, unless it's completely required. Overall, it's a really unfair mode, and that's why it got removed. Failed feature number 5 is Brawl boxes. They did bring them back for a little event, but even that was kind of a fail because the mega boxes just weren't that good when they came back. But originally in the game, boxes were basically the only form of progression in the game, meaning you have to go gambling just to get anything in the game. It was really fun, I'll admit, to save up a bunch of boxes and open them, especially as a free-to-play. That was one of the best feelings ever. Unless you got nothing, then it was terrible. They were generally fun to open, but the fact that it was basically required, that was pretty much the only thing you could do to progress the game, was a big problem because there were some players who would basically get nothing, or they would go years without a single legendary brawler. And to show that this is really a failed feature, once they removed boxes, the game peaked because there was a straightforward form of progression that players were kind of familiar with, and it just made more sense once they removed boxes. And now Supercell's other games are also doing this. But after Brawl boxes were removed, all the players addicted to gambling complained a bunch, review bombed the game even, so Brawl Stars eventually added star drops in replacement of Brawl boxes, and those have been the main form of RNG progression ever since, but they're not the main form of progression in the game, so it's fine. Failed feature number 6 is Map Maker. Now hear me out, there's a reason why they plan on making an update to this in the near future. At first, I think this mode was actually very fun, specifically because you could gain trophies on it. There were some maps that were really stupid because of that, and I guess it's kind of a good thing that they removed trophies, but there also used to be more maps like this, the one that you're seeing right here, where it would just throw you into the craziest thing ever. It was just so fun at first, but it feels like nowadays it's kind of lost its life. People are just trying to make the meta map that will win the votes, and these kind of maps that you're seeing right here just won't win. Overall, I don't know anybody who plays Map Maker besides like Kairos Time trying to get the 2 coins from it, but yeah, this mode used to be really fun, and I can't wait for them to fix it because right now I think it's a failed feature. Failed feature number 7 is Brawl Hockey. So this mode was casually implemented at first as a 2v2 game mode. Players still hated it as 2v2 because you could basically walk up the map and score the ball immediately 3 times in a row and then go to the next game. It was really bad. And even though we didn't have much time, if any at all, to play the mode in 3v3, Brawl Stars decided to throw it into ranked, even though it was already seen as a really cheesy bad game mode. The mode basically works in one way, and only in one way. If you make one little misstep, you get scored on. Or if you randomly shoot the puck, you could score on accident. And that's pretty much how the mode is always played. Pros hate it, casuals hate it, literally everybody hates it. I hope they never bring this mode back ever again. It is so bad. The fact that you could be at your goal and shoot the ball randomly and score is probably the worst thing this game has ever seen, especially in a competitive game mode. If there is one sentence you could use to describe Brawl Hockey, it is just Brawl Ball, but worse. Failed feature number 8 is Mega Pig, another feature that is still in the game today. I have a feeling that they're gonna remove this eventually, because since the beginning, the rewards are kind of underwhelming. You don't really get that much from them. 20 star drops these days isn't that much, and the rewards on top of that really don't amount to much at all either. I think that Mega Pig is too much of a grind, because you have to play this specific Mega Pig mode that is basically a more casual version of ranked, but it ends up becoming really boring, especially after like the first time you do it. And I don't think it incentivizes you playing with your club enough as it should. Listen, those of you who played Clash Royale back in the clan chest days, you guys know what I want. I just want a Mega Pig where players can play their normal trophy game modes, but progress the Mega Pig while doing that. Maybe there's something else they have to do alongside that, but the Clash Royale clan chest originally was an amazing feature. Everybody loved it, and I think that's what the Mega Pig should be. Failed feature number 9 is gears, another feature that is still in the game. Did you guys know that gears used to have levels like brawlers did? The beginning of gears was like the downfall of this game. Gears also had their own currency, so if you didn't have that, then you're out of luck. Each gear had 3 levels, and basically the max level is how the gear is today at level 0 because there's no levels. It was extremely pay to win, especially considering you have to get it on every brawler leveled up. It costs so much money. They also used to have something called the resistance gear, which would basically lower the duration or the effect of stuns, slows, and stuff like that. So it's a gear to counter brawlers like Frank and literally anybody else who can stun you or slow you like Spike, all of those guys. It was an amazing gear. But since the feature was so flawed and since it was so expensive to get gears, they removed it in place of the vision gear because they felt like they couldn't add another gear without breaking the economy. If that doesn't show it was a problem, then I don't know what would. Even these days, they're so hesitant to add new gears. They definitely could have added the resistance gear back, but even now they're still too expensive because you have to buy them all for every individual brawler, and the price of every gear on a brawler is more expensive than a hypercharge. They also have mythic gears, which if you guys know, they only add one every like 5 months, and the mythic gears themselves are basically like a second star power for a brawler, which is fine, but the fact that they're never being added is kind of lame. It really shows that they've forgotten about gears. What I think they should do is they should cut the price of gears pretty much in half and then add more. It just feels like they've completely given up on the feature, but if they were to just rework the gear economy, they could definitely go through with adding more of them. Failed feature number 10, and hear me out, all right? It's Chuck. This is by far the most niche brawler in the entire game. He basically only works in Heist, which is a mode that is in competitive, but for some reason it's not in ranked. So if you ever decide to pick Chuck in ranked, even in Hot Zone, which is a mode that some people say he's good in, I have 2 words for you. Good luck, because it's not gonna work. This brawler is basically only usable on ladder, especially considering you can't be counter-picked as easily, because in ranked, unless you're last picking Chuck on a heist match where they don't have a counter to you, which isn't possible, then you're gonna get countered and it's gonna suck. Even if you don't get countered and the players that you're facing just have brains, they'll know to stay away from the path of your tracks and you will still be utterly useless. He's such a predictable brawler because you literally get to see the path that he puts out there, and out of every brawler in the entire game, I think that this brawler is by far the most niche, the most unusable, and the most worthy of a complete brawler overhaul. I could see a world where his super just lets him dash around the entire map wherever he wants to go. Would that be broken? Possibly, but they could make it kind of hard to turn your train or something. I don't really know. Kind of like an old Daryl super, but there's no bouncing. You kind of just like run forward and kind of curve slightly if you want to turn. It would still allow him to play Heist where you could go straight through the map, but at least then they could possibly make his main attack a little bit better and still give him an ability that lets him dash through the entire map. But yeah, those are 10 failed features in Brawl Stars. If you guys know any more, then leave a comment. And again, if you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be doing more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I'll see you later.